Hello guys, my name is Kevin and today I'll talk about why World of Tanks sucks. Kinda weird to hear it from World of Tanks veteran, isn't it? But don't you worry, I ain't gonna be shitting curses all over this game like England did back in the 1943 over Berlin. I'll say some good things as well, especially since wargaming seems to be finally on a good track, so I don't wanna, demotivate them. But the main point of this video is still going to be about the bad things that still persist in a game. The things that practically made me leave a couple of months ago. Either way, I do hope that the people will actually see this video, especially wargaming staff, as this isn't just pure flamey pile of bullcrap. This is actually gonna be a constructive criticism pointing out the things that are changeable in the future and, in my opinion, things that hurt the game in a major way right now. But enough talking and let's get to the third reason why I think this game sucks in its current state. The new player's experience and grinding bumps. Do you still remember as you first played this game, how fun it was back then that it kept you playing for hours, but then you got to like tier 6 or 7 and the experience went from fun and quick to sluggish and grindy.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere.
I absolutely hated that part. I actually couldn't get past this part twice, and the third time that I started with a new account, I only got past this part because I found a clan where the clan leader's right hand gave out free premiums to the best players, or players with the best progression from the past week. He simply gave me stuff for free, alright? I never had the highest win rate, but I managed to somehow get the best progress award for 5 months straight, giving me like 20 premiums for free. But nowadays, people are much hastier than that, much more impatient, and they want their stuff now. They won't start 3 times over until they'll finally understand what this game is about. Yeah, I understand that some of them like grinding, but the bump that there is from tier 7 to tier 8 is just insane. Insane enough to not scare away people. Yeah, it's kinda surprising, but people can usually bear the grind from tier 7 to tier 8, but once they get their tier 8, they are so burned out that they'll just instantly leave. Or if some of them still do not leave, they'll still leave before the tier 9, or right after they get it. It's just simply one hell of a painful grind in comparison to the other games. I know there are a lot of old timers nowadays that mock the new players for playing the quote-unquote easy version of a game, but what they do not realize is that the only thing that they keep complaining about is the grinding difficulty, something that many other games lowered long ago because it is just that useless. Take World of Warcraft as an example. Back in the day, reaching the max level of 60 was something because it took months. Nowadays, reaching the maximum level of 110 can be reached within a week, even less. Yeah, I do understand that the game is far less popular nowadays than it was back in the day, but even the glory days of this game that I had back in 2010 happened after 2 wall data disks that made the game easier. Blizzard simply understood that the grinding in a game is just scaring away people from the actual game, the end game. And people are actually coming to this game expecting the same thing. They think that the grinding is just taking away their time before the actual end game. Now, I'm not saying that the exact same thing should happen to World of Tanks, but I still love to see at least a big weekend version of it. So, you can grind out any tier 10 tank within a month or less while playing like 3 hours a day at most. Those 60 to 70 hours for tier 10 tank would be truly fun to grind through in my opinion. But a new problem would arise, noobs in higher tiers. Not that there are none right now, but seriously, if this would go through there will be many more. So how would I solve it? That's actually quite simple. Matchmaking that puts you up against enemies with the same amount of matches played out. Why like that? Well, the unexperienced players would be against the unexperienced, while the experienced would be with the experienced. This way, there is no chance that a newbie would meet somebody like the Quickie Baby, well, as long as there is plenty of people on the server. At the same time, the good people will still be capable of playing against the noobs, because as you might know, there is plenty of people with like 30,000 matches played out, yet still they weren't capable of getting past 50% win rate mark. But still, there is one other problem that would arise, no matter what. Lack of an actual proper endgame, and that's my second point actually. The game's endgame is basically non-existent, because it consists of you just starting the game over again. That's boring if you would ask me. Well, there are 2 other options, the clan wars, which nobody plays, including me, and the ranked games, which got terrible ranking system. So how would you solve it? Well, there are 3 possibilities, all of which could be in this game at once. First possibility would be the World of Warcraft alike option. This would add PvE balance into this game. game. They may be both realistic and unrealistic. With enough backstory, which there obviously is, wargaming could potentially make a couple of new game modes out of that, which would revolve solely around you killing a bunch of Nazis in Europe or commies somewhere else. There might be some weird ass plot twist, there might be some weird ass story that never happened. I don't know, I'll let that be on wargaming if they are going to choose this possibility, which is very unlikely. This could work similar to the World of Warcraft's dungeons or raids, or maybe even Armored Warfare's PvE battles. The second possibility is the more League of Legends alike one. It is basically focusing on a competitive endgame such as the one you got in League of Legends, climbing through more ranks than you got right now in a current version of the game, and something like points beyond 3 marks of excellence that would pop up only upon looking the player's profile. I don't know, I'm not in wargaming. Oh, and mainly, solving the problem that people play only, and by this I seriously mean only, medium tanks and light tanks in ranked games, and nothing else but that, because everything else is basically useless. And then, the third possibility is what the wargaming is basically already doing. More tanks, modern tanks, tanks that would require you to grind beyond the tier 10. This is the least sustainable options because we are eventually gonna run out of tanks to add, and at that point the game will just become boring and dumb. So this option would be good only if one of the previous options was already added. But now to the third point, the feeling of general uselessness. With 15 players at each team, I feel as if one player's existence meant absolutely nothing in this game. Yeah, teamwork and stuff like that, I get it, but almost no one does that. No one can do that because there actually aren't even all that many options to do so. You can just cover your heavies with TDs or spot for your TDs, but that's about it, that's where it ends. In this case, I would love this game to be much more like War Thunder or For Honor. You know, you can keep different bases and defend them, get something like resources which you can use later on to respawn or repair, maybe an infantry that would destroy enemy fortresses. You get my point. No one can care 1 versus 15, even 1 versus 5 is challenging enough to give you one of the rare medals, the Colbanos medal. So long story short, I'd love if the teams were smaller or no, they would put too much pressure on the people. I'd love if there were more ways of working with your own team, other than just shooting. Gosh, even in the CSGO you can support your team with flashbangs and smokes. Why can't we have something like that over here? But this is just pure speculation. These changes would alter the basic playstyle of World of Tanks a touch too much for people's tastes. People start playing this game for a certain thing, and if that certain thing will change, they'll simply stop playing it. So this is seriously a risky move that wargaming has to take in order to make this game better. In my opinion, it has to be taken, but as I said, it's risky. There is a problem that it may not come out well. However, over the years I had so much more fun with games where I could actually work with my team instead of just picking an OP tank and winning automatically. But now to the fifth point, the one that you probably all expected, the premium tanks nerf or rework if nothing else. I know wargaming said that the people bought a certain tank for what it was back then, not the thing that it may become after changes. But for Christ's sake, do you seriously think that some architect from 11th century made his castle to last forever? No, that's just impossible. Sure, he made his castle to last as long as possible, but he expected the cracks might appear on the walls. He knew that new arrows, new bows, new crossbows may be invented, but he upgraded the arsenal of the castle as the time went on. He repaired those cracks. But here, wargaming literally makes OP tanks just so they can stay relevant even if the meta changes. That, by the way, is the only way of making this look as if the wargaming wasn't trying to milk the shit out of this game. Still though, the premiums shouldn't be OP. Yeah, above average, sure, but not OP. They should be between the quarter and third of the best tanks, not on the absolute top. That makes this game pay to win, and trust me, unless the tank becomes completely worthless, people will still play it, so you can still nerf it, unless you nerf it too much. And now to the last complaint. The last point, more patches and meta changes. Let's take a look at League of Legends. Originally, so back in like 2012, 2013, the game had a patch every couple of months. But once it has peaked, the patches became far more common. Riot works so hard to make the game feel new and refreshing, so whenever you would start getting bored with a game, a new patch would roll out and maybe, just maybe, your favorite champion would become OP. Yeah, the patches didn't always add a new champion, but that would be impossible. So yeah, that's kinda the point. Every 1 or 2 weeks the game received an update where some of the champions were nerfed, some were buffed, and some had only some kind of minor adjustment done to them. World of Tanks, however, since the game peaked back in 2015, the wargaming seems to have panicked. Every decision they made the game look worse. New tanks were just copies of old ones with minimal changes, but the worst thing of all were the premiums that were released in late 2016 and early 2017, where it almost looked as if the wargaming abandoned the game and just wanted to milk as much money out of it as possible before completely shutting the game down. So my question is simple, why not change it now? You can always change the game. More updates changing the game balance, no more IS-3s lasting amongst the top 10 for 5 years, no more defenders made just to annoy people, but constant balance changes, so every tank can see the light of a top 10 someday, so everybody may have their slice of fun, so people like me won't have to leave. But that's all I wanted to say. Well, actually that wasn't all. There's still an explanation of why I made this video. As you might know, I feel as if the wargaming finally started listening to what their fans want. They gave HD reworks to some of the maps. That's something that players begged for solid 3 to 4 years, but mainly the Prima Victoria. As you might know, Prima Victoria is a tank that was added to this game about 2 months ago. It was a tank made after a power metal band called Sabaton, or after one of their songs. This band is a band that constantly sings about war and tanks, so it kinda makes sense for a tank to be called after them. Basically, the Prima Victoria is a song about the D-Day. But the Prima Victoria was basically just the basic Centurion with a turret armor that was actually strong. That means that the Prima Victoria was just another pay-to-win tank, as you could basically get a tank you knew for a good couple of years, but stronger just for paying a couple of bucks. But guess what? Wargaming said that they'll nerf it, but instead of nerfing it, they did one far better thing. They buffed the British medium tank line, so it can hold its own against the Swedish intruder. Why is it so amazing? Well, instead of just removing one of those annoying pay-to-win pimples out of the game, Wargaming decided to buff underpowered tank line that people wanted buffed for so long that I can't practically remember when it started. This all makes it look as if the Wargaming made a 180-degree turn and that they are back in their old track. That is definitely amazing. And so I made a video listing a couple of things I feel are ruining the game at this moment. Yeah, I made some solving suggestions as well, which may not be completely sane. What? Don't look at me like that. I'm not a game designer, or at least yet, I may become one in the future. But I got no idea how to solve these things correctly. I've never created a game, and I probably never will. Anyway, that's really all of it. All of what I wanted to say. So hope you enjoyed, hope that somebody from Wargaming will actually get to see this, and I hope that I'll see you next time. Bye!